morning, dear children. In the last class, we discussed about charge, current, potential difference, resistance and Ohm's law. Okay. So now we will continue with our portions. And do you remember what was Ohm's law? There is a condition for Ohm's law, that is at constant temperature, the current flowing through a circuit is directly proportional to the potential difference, or what you can write, V is equal to IR. So we are writing the resistance there and it is the constant coming in the equation. Now from here, how can I write R? R is equal to V by I, isn't it? R is equal to V by I. Now the reciprocal of resistance is known as conductance. Okay. So what is conductance? It is the reciprocal of resistance. 1 by R is known as conductance. Then what about the unit? For resistance it was ohm. So in the case of conductance it will be ohm raised to -1 because it is the reciprocal of resistance. Okay. Or one more unit is there. It is Siemens. Siemens is also a unit for conductance. Okay. So what you have to remember? Reciprocal of resistance is known as conductance and its unit is ohm inverse or Siemens. Okay. Now the next thing is there about the graph. Okay, we are going to consider a graph related to Ohm's law. So first we will be considering IV graph. Okay, I along the y-axis and V along the x-axis. So when you are drawing an IV graph, according to Ohm's law, voltage is directly or potential difference is directly proportional to the current. So what about the shape of the graph? You will be getting a straight line graph. Okay. So you have to study this graph. It is known as IV graph. Okay. IV graph. And what about the shape? It is a straight line. Then what about the slope of this graph? How will you consider or calculate slope? Do you remember? In order to get a slope, we will be constructing a small triangle on a straight line graph. And slope is given by the equation m is equal to the quantity in y-axis divided by the quantity in x-axis. So what is the quantity given in y-axis? It is I. And what is the quantity given in the x-axis? It is V. And do you know what is I by V? Resistance is V by I. So what is I by V? It is the conductance. Okay. So what do you have to remember from here? The slope of IV graph will give you the conductance. Okay. So based on Ohm's law, I have drawn an IV graph. I along the y-axis and V along the x-axis. We'll be getting a straight line graph. Now we are taking the slope. Slope means the quantity in the, you will be constructing a small triangle in the straight line graph. And the quantity in the y-axis by quantity in the x-axis will give you the slope. So, I by V. I by V is actually the reciprocal of resistance. What is that? It is the conductance. Okay. So, what you have to remember? The slope of IV graph will give you the conductance. Okay. Now, the next thing is about the limitations of Ohm's law. What is the limitation of Ohm's law? What is its limitation? It takes place only at constant temperature. Okay. Ohm's law is valid only at constant temperature. So is it clear? Now we will be moving to the next part. Next is actually the experimental verification of Ohm's law, and that is not there in our syllabus. Okay. It is moved from the syllabus. So no need to consider the experimental verification of Ohm's law. It is given in page number 180. It is not needed. Okay. Then next is VI graph. Okay. Now I have drawn IV graph. Now we will be drawing what? VI graph. So in this case, we'll be taking V along the y-axis and I along the x-axis. So in the case of when you are considering Ohm's law, if the object is obeying Ohm's law, this VI graph also will be a straight line. And when you take the slope in this case, what will be the value? What is there in the y-axis? It is V. In the x-axis, it is I. What is VI? V by I, it is resistance. So you should study this graph also. VI graph. Okay. VI graph means V along the y-axis and I along the x-axis. Here also we will be getting a straight line graph. And what about the slope? The slope will give you the resistance. Okay. So is it clear? We have considered two different graphs, IV and VI. Slope of IV graph will give you conductance and slope of VI graph will give you resistance. Okay. Now next is about ohmic and non-ohmic resistors. All these objects won't obey Ohm's law. Okay. The conductors which obey Ohm's law can be called as ohmic resistors or ohmic conductors. For example, all the metals, it obeys Ohm's law. Okay. So if it obeys Ohm's law means what? V should be proportional to I, and when you draw the graph, you should get this straight line. Potential difference and current should be directly proportional to each other at constant temperature. Then only we can say that that particular component obeys Ohm's law. So the conductors which obey Ohm's law can be called as ohmic conductors. Example, metals. Then the conductors or the resistors or the substances which do not obey Ohm's law can be called as non-ohmic conductors or resistors. In the case of diode, LED, etc., they won't obey Ohm's law. So in that case, if we draw the VI graph, so VI, okay, in the case of non-ohmic conductors, if we draw the graph, it won't be a straight line, it will be a curve. Where in the case of non-ohmic resistors, instead of straight line here, in that case for non-ohmic resistors, V won't be proportional to I. So we'll be getting a curve. So here if you want to know the resistance offered at a particular point, what you can do is just draw a tangent. What is a tangent? A straight line touching a curve at a single point. So we can draw a tangent. Slope can be constructed only in straight lines. So from here you can construct a triangle and you will be getting the resistance at that particular point. Okay. And that is known as dynamic resistance, because here the resistance is not constant, it is variable. At different points you will be getting different value for resistance. But in this case, if you construct triangle anywhere on the straight line graph, everywhere you will be getting the value of R as constant. Why? Because V is directly proportional to I. I change cheyyunnathanusaരിച്ച് V also will change. So what is the equation for R? R is equal to V by I. So in all the cases, the value of R will be same. In the case of ohmic conductors, any point V by I will be same. But in the case of non-ohmic resistors, we are getting a curve. That means here V and I are not directly proportional. In order to get the resistance at a particular point, what we'll do? We'll draw a tangent and then we will construct the slope there. So we'll be getting the resistance offered at that particular point. Since its value is continuously changing, we'll be calling it as dynamic resistance. Okay. So is it clear? Now you can take the textbook. Today in this session I just considered three graphs. Which were they? IV and VI in the case of ohmic resistors and VI in the case of non-ohmic resistors. So IV graph, slope of IV graph will give you conductance. Slope of VI graph will give you resistance. In the case of non-ohmic resistors, you will be getting a curve, and when you make the slope, you will be getting the value for dynamic resistance there. And already I told you this experimental verification of Ohm's law is not needed. Okay. Then homework questions. Page number 186. Page number 186. In the last class, you have completed till question number 9. So here you should complete till question number 14. 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14. Okay. So 5 homework questions are there. Now we will do few numericals. Okay. So you can take the notebook. We will be doing the numericals given in this section. So, page number 187. Take page number 187. Numericals. First question. In a conductor, 6.25 into 10 raised to 16 electrons flow from its end A to B in 2 seconds. Okay. So, what all things are given there? 6.25 into 10 raised to 16 electrons. So what is that? Number of electrons is given as 6.25 into 10 raised to 16, isn't it? It flows in 2 seconds. That means time is given as 2 seconds. Find the current flowing through the conductor. You are asked to calculate the current, and one more thing is given. Charge of the electron is given as 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. So we need the current, isn't it? So how will you get the current? What is our equation? I is equal to Q by T. And what is Q? NE, isn't it? So I is equal to NE by T. How much is N? 6.25 into 10 raised to 16 into 1.6. Isn't it? 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19. 10 raised to minus 19 divided by 2. Then, it's a direct question. I don't want to give much explanation here. Here, if it is 16, 1.6. So, what will come here? It will be 0.8. 8 into 2 is 16. Since 1.6 is there, I have given it as 0.8. Then, here it is 10 raised to 16. From here, I am taking 2 zeros. So, this will become 625. Okay. Then, 1 0 is taken in order to remove this decimal point. So, this will become 8. Then, so how many zeros I took from 10 raised to 16? 3 zeros. So, here it will be 10 raised to 13. Did you understand? First thing is I am changing the decimal point. So, I took 2 zeros from 10 raised to 16. It became 10 raised to 14. So, 625 into 10 raised to 14 into, here it is 0.8. So, I took one more 0. That means it becomes 10 raised to 13, and here I got it as 8 into our 10 raised to minus 19 is there itself. Now, how much is 625 into 8? 625 into 8. 8 into 5, 40. 4 remainder, 16. 8 into 2, 16 plus 4, 20. 2 remainder. 8 into 6, 48 plus 2, 50. So, you are getting 5,000 there. 5,000 into 13 and minus 19. So, this will be 10 raised to how much? Minus 6. 19 minus 13 is 6. Since minus is having the greater value, minus 6. Here, 3 zeros are there. It is 10 raised to minus 6. So, what can you write? 5 into 10 raised to minus 3 ampere. Okay. Since it is 5 into 10 raised to 3, if you want, you can write it as 5 milliampere. But anyway, our final answer should be in SI system. That is why I wrote it as 5 into 10 raised to minus 3 ampere. Okay. So is it clear? Direct question. Now we will be moving to the next question. Question number 2. A current of 1.6 milliampere flows through a conductor. Okay. So what is given here? Current. A current of 1.6 milliampere. So first thing is convert it into ampere. So how much? 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 3. Milli to ampere means what you have to do? Smaller to bigger means you have to divide. Dividing by 1000 means into 10 raised to minus 3. So this much ampere. If the charge on an electron is, so charge on an electron is minus 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. This minus implies that it consists of more number of electrons. Okay. Then find the number of electrons that will pass each second. So that means time is equal to 1. Each second means time is 1 second. So what do you have to calculate here? Number of electrons. So what is our equation? I equal to Ne by T. So what will be N? N is equal to IT by E. Isn't it? So this will be equal to 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 3 into 1. Because it is per second. By 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19. 1.6 and 1.6 gets cancelled. When this reaches top, what happens? It becomes 10 raised to plus 19. 10 raised to minus 3 and 10 raised to plus 19 means this will be 10 raised to 16 electrons. Okay. So our question is to calculate the number of electrons. So 10 raised to 16 electrons. Okay. Now we will move to question number 3. Now the other questions are direct questions. Okay. Find the potential difference required to flow a current of 200 milliampere. So current is given as 200 milliampere. Okay. 200 milliampere is the current. That means it is 200 into 10 raised to minus 3 ampere. Find the potential difference required to flow a current of 200 milliampere in a wire of resistance 20 ohm. Resistance is given as 20 ohm. So which equation should we use here? Ohm's law, isn't it? That is V equal to IR. This is our equation. So current is 200 into 10 raised to minus 3 into resistance is 20. 1, 2, 3 zeros are there. 10 raised to minus 3. It gets cancelled. 2 into 2 is 4. So our answer is 4 volt. Okay. So direct substitution. Now we will move to the next question. That is question number 4. An electric bulb draws 1.2 ampere current at 6 volt. So current is given as 1.2 ampere and potential is given as 6 volt. Find the resistance. So what is the equation? R is equal to V by I. Isn't it? V equal to IR. So R is equal to V by I. 6 divided by 1.2. Since we are having decimal point in the denominator, multiply the numerator and denominator with 10. So you are getting 60 by 12. So how much is that? 12, 24, then 48, 60. That means here it will be 5. So the answer is 5. What about the unit? Since it is resistance, the unit is ohm. So is it clear? Now, question number 5 and 6. You can do as homework. Direct substitution. Okay. Use what are Ohm's law? V equal to IR. So question number 5 and 6 are homework questions. Okay. So thank you children.